I'm super excited. I finally got to order a 3D printer, and I'm gonna go ahead and unbox it. As you can tell, have not opened it yet, but I thought it'd be cool to just film it and walk through the setup and everything that it can do and how it works. Um, I got the Longer LK5 Pro. No sponsors, nothing like that. Just thought it would be cool. I'm excited. I figured I'd share it with the internet. So let's go ahead and get started. Overall, I was really impressed with the packaging. The manufacturer's from China, but this was warehoused in California, at least that's where it's shipped from. And I think they did a really good job packaging it. And then the secondary box, which actually had the printer in it, was also packaged very well. Everything was in foam. There wasn't really any room for stuff to move around and kind of break while it was being shipped. Longer claims that the 3D printer is 90% assembled, and I think that's true. In real time, it only took me about an hour or so to put it together, and I've never put a 3D printer together before. It comes with instructions, they're not great. Longer does make a YouTube video that kind of walks you through it, but it's also not great. In the box, you're going to get everything you need to put this thing together. It comes with the X-axis beam and frame base, which is like the main part of the printer, the gantry, a touchscreen, a scraper, a screw rod bearing bracket, a Z-axis motor and coupler, a filament holder, a Z-axis limit switch, some test filament, a micro SD card, a card reader with a USB port on it, power cable, all the tools that you need to do it, 2 supporting rods, a screw rod, some extra cable ties if you need them, and then all the various hardware and screws that you're going to need. And what was a nice surprise is they also sent some spare parts. I didn't need any of them, but they're there in case I need it. The first thing you're going to want to do if you're in the United States like me is change the power from 230 volt to 115 volt. This is super important. Now it's time to go ahead and start the assembly. The first part of the assembly, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to connect your X-axis beam to the gantry. The most important part of this step is to make sure that all of the hardware, like the filament detector and everything, are on the side of the gantry that has a little white label near the bottom of it. That's going to be important for a step that we have to do later. Once you've got it on there, just move it up and down a few times. Make sure the wheels that are on the X-axis beam are moving smoothly and that everything's running the way you would expect it to. Next, we're going to go ahead and install the motor onto the gantry. For that, you're going to use the M4 by 16 screws. Next, you're going to want to install the screw rod, which comes in what I can only describe as saran wrap and takes forever to unpackage. That screw rod is going to go through the E extrusion motor into the Z-axis motor. Next, just move that screw rod up and down a little bit, make sure that it's working the way you would expect, and then you want to attach the screw rod to the motor using that coupler. At this point, you really start to feel like the printer's coming together. The next step is going to be to attach the gantry to the frame base. The frame base has 4 holes, 2 on each side, that correspond with holes at the bottom of the gantry. For this, you're going to use the 4 M5 by 30 screws. It wasn't super easy because it's kind of a low profile when the printer's on the table, so what I ended up doing was sliding the printer to the edge of the table just so I had enough room that I could get my hand and the Allen wrench under there to get those tightened. The second part of installing the gantry is going to be to add the supporting rods. For that, you're going to use 4 of the M4x8 screws. You're going to attach each supporting rod to each side, and then once you've done that, you're going to use the little wrench that they've included to tighten the bolts and just make sure that everything's super tight and that you don't have any movement in that gantry. This is to just make sure that you've got that extra support so that when you're printing, the gantry isn't shaking and messing up your prints. When I was hunting around for a 3D printer and I started looking at reviews for this printer specifically, that was something that a lot of the review sites and the reviews that I read pointed out as something that was really good. Because it's so tall, having those supporting rods to limit that movement makes a big difference in the quality of the prints that you're going to get. Next, you're going to use 2 of the M4x18 screws to install the lead screw bearing bracket, which just attaches right to the top of that screw rod that we put in a little bit ago. Then we're going to use the 2 M5x20 screws to install the filament holder to the top beam of the printer, and you'll see the corresponding holes. Then you're going to want to go ahead and install the Z-axis limit switch. This switch goes on the gantry on the side right above that sticker. That's why having that sticker in that spot was so important, because that's your guide on where to install the Z-axis limit switch. And from my understanding, the purpose of that switch is to prevent the filament head from going too far down onto your surface and causing all kinds of issues. By now you're feeling really good. You've almost got this thing set up. The next step is going to be to get the touchscreen attached, and for that you're going to use 2 of the M5x6 screws, and you're just going to put it on that open face there and attach the touchscreen. I think going into this build, for me personally, the thing I was worried about the most was connecting all the wires. I just didn't want to mess something up, but it was actually super simple. They've got all of the wires labeled with either a Z, an X, or an E, and those correspond with the different sections of the printer itself. The wires labeled Z go to the touchscreen, as well as the Z-axis motor and the Z-axis limited switch. The wires marked X go to the X-axis motor and the X-axis limited switch. And then the wires labeled E connect to your filament detector and your E-extrusion motor. The only other thing that you'll have to connect that isn't mentioned on the wiring diagram that they provided is the big giant cable that goes into the actual print bed. One of the other things that was really nice is that none of the connectors, at least none of the ones that are labeled Z, X, or E, are the same size. So there's only 2 or 3 options to plug in for each thing, and you're going to be able to figure that out just strictly based on the wire harness size. All in all, for this being my first 3D printer, my first time ever assembling one, I think everything went relatively smooth. I think that it was fairly simple. I had a lot of fun doing it. I had a lot of fun recording it. If you'd like to have me do a demonstration of how to level the print bed, or just show you what my first print looked like, I'd love to do that if you guys would be interested. If so, please drop a comment below and say that you'd like to see that stuff. If you'd like to see more content from me, I would love to start producing more stuff just to share my journey of 3D printing with you guys. As any burgeoning YouTuber would do, I'm going to shamelessly ask for you to like and follow and share and turn on notifications and do all that wonderful stuff. And thanks for coming on this journey with me. I hope that if you find yourself with this printer, this video helps you, or if you're looking for a printer and you were thinking about this one, that this video helps you maybe find the right printer for you. Until next time, talk to you later. Bye.